Good morning, everyone. Welcome you all to the Bharat Electoral Literacy Fest by Prajasetu. Today, we are talking on a very important a piece of India, the crown of India, Kashmir. We have our favorite and our very own Mrunmayee with us to talk. Let me introduce her to you, and then she'll tell you more about her. Mrunmayee is an accomplished education professional with a rich and diverse background. As the co-founder of Project Access to Expression, she has witnessed firsthand and transformative power of quality education. Her experience as an educational professional at the Indian Army, project lead at the Vowels of the People Association, and fellow advisor at Teach for India has shaped her deep understanding of the critical role of education plays in the society. Driven by an unwavering passion for dissecting complex issues and crafting innovative solutions, she has set her sight on the realm of policy research. She is committed to exploring the intersection of education policy, equity, and social impact to contribute to a brighter future for learners from all walks of life. Looking ahead, Mrunmayee is preparing to venture into the sphere of political consultancy, aiming to leverage her research insights to shape actionable strategies and advocate for policies that have a positive impact on education and society at large. Thank you, Mrunmayee, for being here with us. We'd like to hear more about you by you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much for this opportunity to discuss and talk about the topic that I'm very much passionate about, that is Kashmir. And I always feel that Indians love to celebrate, right? We love all kinds of festivals. We just love to celebrate. And elections are like biggest celebration of the whole idea of democracy. So being a democratic country with people love to celebrate, with people have like loving to celebrate everything, it is an immense pleasure, and it gives me immense happiness to talk about my very talk about the topics that are very close to my heart, elections and Kashmir. So thank you for this opportunity. And so basically, I am not the person that you like talked about right now. It's like very heavy words, and I'm already feeling the pressure. But yeah, I'm glad to be here and glad to be part of this election literacy fest. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you, Mrunmayee, for being here. And those words were not made up. You very much deserve all those words and many more. I kept it quite brief and short so that you can talk more on your works. And we are really fortunate and humbled to have you here with us. And let's start on the core topic of unveiling perspectives, Kashmir and the democratic mandate. The topic and the theme itself is quite heavy, I know, but this is the need of the hour that we should talk about Kashmir, the crown of Bharat. It's very important. It's important for them to feel, I wouldn't say for the people of Kashmir to feel that they are very much a part of mainland India. They are Indians always, they have been, and they will be forever. So this is one statement that I want to make. And let's delve into the topic right away. So my first question to you is, what, to some extent, is the historical perspective of Kashmir, Jammu and Ladakh?
Yeah. So basically, I don't like to call Kashmiris as they, because I feel that they are, I mean, we all are Indians, right? And we all are part of this immense history, diverse historical, cultural, religious culture that we share together with them. So it's us that is talking about this whole idea of democracy and idea of Bharat, as you rightly said. Coming back to historical perspective of the region, so Kashmir, Jammu, Ladakh have a rich and diverse historical background. The region's history is marked by various dynasties, various rulers, various cultural influence, may that be from Shaivism, Hinduism, Sufism, post that Islamic rulers. Kashmir has seen a lot. The region has seen a lot. It has been like a melting pot of Hindu, Buddhist, and Muslim civilizations when we talk about Kashmir, Jammu, and Ladakh. The princely state of Jammu and Kashmir was a significant player during the colonial era, with its ruling Maharaja maintaining relative autonomy under British rule. So I've worked more in Kashmir, the valley. I'm sharing here is basically my perspective about things. I'm not claiming that this is the 100% reality. This is the only truth. This is the absolute truth. I'll be sharing my perspective. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anybody who's listening to this, they might also like know many more things about the region itself. I'll be sharing my perspective, my opinions on this. So I'm just making that clear. This is again like my opinions about things that I'm sharing. The feeling of relative autonomy has always been there in the valley. At the time of Indian independence and partition in 1947, Maharaja faced difficult decision to whether to accede to India or to Pakistan. We all know that it's a topic that we have read and we have like discussed multiple times. He chose India and like very thoughtfully using this word chose. Leading to territorial dispute, the first Indo-Pakistan War. We all aware about the history. Evolution of electoral process is very much related to the whole historical evolution of the region itself. The electoral process in the region has evolved over time, initially after the instrument of accession to India in 1947. Sadri Riyasat, the constitutional head of state and prime minister, headed the government in the region. Elections to the Constituent Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir were held, leading the formation of Jammu and Kashmir Constitution in 1957. We all are aware that Jammu and Kashmir had its own constitution, its own flag, its own prime minister for a very long time. So it was initially very different than other states in India. Subsequently, the region had its first legislative assembly and participated in Indian parliamentary elections as well. That is all about evolution of electoral process and historical perspective about the region itself and the evolution of electoral process.
Thank you. Thank you for running us through it very briefly, and it was quite precise and concise to be there. So my next question to you is, can you please give us a quick summary of what is the atmosphere of elections there and how have they evolved over time?
I'll just run through some data. Legislative Assembly elections in the state have been held 11 times since 1951, whereas parliamentary elections have been held 12 times since 1967. But very interestingly, municipal elections in the state have been held 4 times since 1947. This is a very interesting data point with October 2018 elections by 5th time they were held. It was by-elections for the DDC council. Before becoming a state, there was Praja Sabha in the state. So Praja Sabha, the first elections that happened in the region was Praja Sabha election in 1934. Prior to the atmosphere of elections, mostly parties tend to boycott the elections, specifically the local elections, because it's an instrument. Elections are very effective instrument in the region. So basically, we all love to express, right? So the region where there is some kind of fear to express, we all use our votes as expression in some way or the other, and the region is not an exception. So the people there and political parties there, basically, even though people want to express their right to vote, and they want to express their political urges, societal comforts with their voting rights, but the Gupkar Alliance, maybe the PDP and NCS, always boycotted the local elections. Uh, Kashmir, like elections in Kashmir, has seen multiple events of stone pelting, multiple events of uh, like violence. So basically, the thing is, even though people want to express their right to vote, most of the time it is not possible because of the situations that were prevailing there at the point of time. But the Constitution of India has gives power to Election Commission of India to oversee the establishment of electoral rules as well as organize the elections, both the Legislative Assembly and the Legislative Council in Jammu and Kashmir. If we like elections, elect all 111 members of the Legislative Assembly based on universal adult franchise. But if we talk about mahal of election, so most of the time, voter turnouts are comparatively less than the other regions, except Jammu. Valley, it seems I haven't experienced an election on ground in the region, but I have had interactions with people there. Most of the time, currently, if we talk about elections prior to abrogation of 370 and 35A, the mahol was quite different than what it is today. There are speculations that elections there will be the largest voter turnout this year if elections are held, and in general elections and the local body elections as well. And the reason, so basically, the speculations are very different. They vary within a huge range. The speculations are there like they don't want a particular party, they don't want a particular national party. So people will come and express their dissent against a particular national party, the biggest party in the world. And the speculations on the other side are people are quite happy about the work, happy about the development that is being done in past 5 years. So they might turn up and vote for the development agenda. So there is a wide range of speculations, but elections on ground are mostly again a celebration of again like expression of their thoughts, expression of their aspirations, their desires.
That's quite
I
fantastic.
hope I answered your question.
Totally, and I am at awe with your choice of words. It's getting through, but in the right sense. So happy. Let me take you to the next question. Okay. So, how does Jammu and Kashmir's unique autonomous status under Article 370 affect the electoral process? This is quite, technical for that matter, but it does have the perspective is what I want now. Both combined.
So basically, Article 370 of the Indian Constitution, which was initially intended to be a temporary article, it granted Jammu and Kashmir a special status. This meant that the state had its constitution, its flag, significant control over its internal affairs, except for foreign affairs, defense, and communications. Right. This special status had profound impact on the region's political and constitutional structure. It allowed the state to define its permanent residents and grant them special rights and privileges. The region basically had a unique electoral process that operated within the framework of its own constitution and laws. As the article was repealed in 2019, in August 2019, the Indian government revoked the article and bifurcated the state into two union territories. We all are aware about it. One is Jammu and Kashmir, and the other one is Ladakh. This move significantly altered the region's political and constitutional landscape as it integrated Jammu and Kashmir more closely with the Indian Union. Also, delimitation, if we talk about delimitation process, it has taken place in state for 4 times. So basically 1963, 1973, 1995. The last delimitation in 1995 was based on 1981 census. Following the this delimitation actually increased the number of seats from 76 to 87 in the region. And additional 24 seats that were reserved for the areas under Pakistan occupied Kashmir. So basically, but the current delimitation process that happened recently, that will impact the election scenario in Jammu and Kashmir very significantly. And like the decade between 2000 and 2010 saw an incremental process in the expansion of electoral space in the region. Politics became more competitive with the emergence of mainstream political parties like PDP, BJP, Apni Party for that matter. It was established in 2020, but it has its own significance. And it disrupted the dominance of National Conference and Indian National Congress. So it is very different to actually analyze the situation in its own sphere. So, yeah. Also, as we were talking about the repeal of Article 317 2019, as we spoke about by-elections that were held in 2018. Very interesting. I'll love to give an example of Kupwara. So Kupwara is majorly a Sunni-dominated area. Sunni population is there. But interestingly, the TDC seat was won by a Gujar. And caste dynamics, power dynamics plays a huge role in politics of Kashmir, in elections of Kashmir, in electoral sphere, electoral politics of Kashmir. So it is very interesting to actually understand. I'm also trying to understand. I'm researching on how exactly it affects and how exactly which are the stakeholders, what actually comes into play when it comes to winning an election on ground in Kashmir, specifically few areas of North Kashmir and few areas of South Kashmir. So it is very different in different sectors, different regions within the valley itself. So yeah, I mean, looking forward to research more on this. I hope. I talk a lot and I jump a lot as well.
No, that's what is expected. Actually, that's what is expected to see, because when we are talking on perspectives, you cannot have one throw on it. It is about various fabrics coming in together, making one weave. So that is what is actually expected, and you are actually catering to the needs of what the actual intent of this podcast is. So quite interesting to know, and I can see that Kashmir is very similar to every other region in Bharat. So it has nothing very different or unique after listening to you. Caste dynamics and everything is there. I can see it very clearly. And so with the same zeal, let's go ahead addressing few more questions. Is what are the ramifications of its repeal in 2019? Do you have anything extra to say in it? Or I'm sure you must have, but still.
So prior to 2019, JKNC, which is National Conference, and PDP and INC have been dominant political parties in the state. But from 1996 onwards, the vote share of BJP has increased in the parliamentary elections for the state. If we look at the data, basically it is from 12.45% in 2008 to 23% in 2014. So there is a significant increase in the vote share by other political parties as well. Also, a very interesting event that Altaf Bukhari, who was the education minister in BJP PDP alliance government, and has been like a very instrumental figure in politics of Jammu and Kashmir, he starts his own political party called Apni Party. And JKAP, Jammu and Kashmir Apni Party, formed in 2020 and led by Altaf Bukhari. So he was a minister in Mehbooba Mufti's government in Jammu and Kashmir pre-abrogation. And very interestingly, he actually left the party and along with 30 members, he established his own party. And he is the only person in the state besides the chief minister, like then chief minister. Omar and Mehbooba ke alawa, he's the only person who has this Z plus security this thing. He also supported the national government, few policies of the national government in the valley, in the region. So that is a very interesting thing that happened post abrogation. So emergence of a new party. Maybe ideologically, few national parties cannot exist there. They cannot run their own government. So formation of new alliances. Maybe I'm hoping to actually witness new alliances in the region along with Gupta. And very interestingly, one thing that happened, usually Gupkar alliance, like PDP and NC, they tend to boycott the local body elections. But surprisingly, they took a very different stand when it came to the by-elections, the DDC by-elections that happened. So they didn't boycott the elections. As an indicator of normalcy in the region, Election Commission declared the elections. If the government could conduct local district level development council elections in 2020, there is one question that arises in everybody's mind: what makes assembly elections an exception, right?
Right.
So that is one question that is like that comes to our mind. And obviously, there are assurances and there are statements given by the government that we are ready to conduct elections, we are ready to declare elections any point of time. So it is very interesting to actually read about the events that are happening. Also, one very interesting thing that again, central government appears as much averse to conducting elections in the Legislative Assembly in J&K. So even the stand that these parties are taking, it is very interesting to understand why is happening, what is happening. The recent interviews, if we are following like the recent interviews by Omar, they all talk about, even one of the tweets, ki democracy ends where JNK begins. So very, very interesting tweets, reactions. The region is such that everybody has opinions about the region. Everybody has their own perspective about the region. But the sad thing is nobody is trying to understand what the people really think.
I also can, if you would allow, I have an idea that comes to my mind. It is also a melting point of narratives, you know. A lot of narratives come there and nobody is actually in that mindset, or maybe not driven enough to go and see if there is any reality to the narrative that is being spread. So I can understand what you're saying.
One thing I would like to add, after the abrogation, just take this example. If there is this MLA in your area, the way you talk to your MLA is not the same the way you talk to the administrative officer in that region, right? So currently that one layer is missing in the region of Jammu and Kashmir. So there are no elected representatives, right? So people raise their issues with their MLAs, with their MPs.
Yeah.
There are MPs, but people raise their issues with their local political leaders, elected representatives. But currently, that one layer of electoral hierarchy is missing in a way. So the anger or anything that people want to express, that comes directly to the higher level of hierarchy. But very interestingly, the government, the governor, lieutenant governor, and the policies which were framed in a way that these administrative officers tried to reach out to the local public. They had they organized things like like open forums, open hours, where they can actually raise their concerns, when they can actually put forth their demands directly with the administrative officers of that particular region, maybe the DC of the region, maybe with a particular principal secretary of a particular department. So these efforts, there was this another initiative called Awam Ki Awaaz that was actually started by the Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha. So that actually like that was an indicator of normalcy, bringing normalcy in the region. That gave people hope that things will change. That gave people hope that okay, now we are fed up with this whole party politics. Now we are fed up with this whole fiasco and chaos in the region. Now we want development, and we are ready to hold hands with you. And now we need change, and we need. But again, if you look at Kashmiris, they are very secretive. They want like let you know what they are thinking, what's on their mind, until and unless they trust you fully. There are people who don't like to talk about Kashmir. There are Kashmiris who they don't like to talk about Kashmir, Kashmir politics specifically. But bacha, like even kids are aware about what is happening with the political scenario, and everything is political. There was this a friend of mine from Kashmir. He made a statement that if a child is being born in one of the hospitals, it is political. It has to be political in Kashmir. So that is the.
I somehow, yeah, I somehow agree to what you are saying and your friend says, because everything, they have their own reasons for being like this. I mean, it's the kind of political history as well as the administrative structure there, which has kind of had a lot of problems, specifically not much of clarity, or no, the power play, I would say. So people do have a valid reason to remain secretive, or probably hold their ideas to themselves till they have trust on somebody, because that might again become another issue, or probably they that might hold some other focal point and bring up another spectrum of problems together. So I can totally agree, and they do have reasons for why they are secretive. So let's go further. This is getting more and more interesting, frankly. So the next question to you is: so what are the local people's expectation for election in Kashmir, and how do they see the voting process?
How do they see the voting process? Okay. Local expectations regarding regarding elections in Kashmir are diverse. Some residents welcome the changes. If we talk about the changes that are brought by repeal of Article 370, few actually welcome the changes, seeing it as an opportunity for greater integration and economic development. Particularly in Valley, a few parts of Valley, South Kashmir, they viewed the move with skepticism and saw it as their loss of their unique identity and autonomy. But this feeling is there. I mean, I was having a discussion with one of my journalist friends who covers local news there, and my question was, what will be the demands? Election ka mudda kya hoga? That was the question. And the major question that he raised, and based on his understanding of the scenario, Article 370 के वजह से हमारी लड़कियां दूसरी जगह शादी कर सकती है. That was the biggest mudda in his neighboring villages. Shadi became a mudda.
Okay.
Yeah. So it is different and diverse for diverse people. So for one region, if you consider regions of Pampore and everything, Apple became a huge mudda for local body elections, if you're talking about.
Right.
It happens like it is very similar with the other regions. For local elections, local issues are raised. For assembly elections, Article 370, identity issues. Basically, they are loving. One statement was made that after Sheikh Abdullah, Manoj Sinha is the visionary leadership for the region, visionary leadership for Jammu and Kashmir. And this was made by a Kashmiri. But he's not a Kashmiri. Manoj Sinha is not a Kashmiri. Left governed. LG Sarkar अच्छी है, but he's not a Kashmiri. So identity, Kashmiri identity becomes a huge issue, important issue during election in the valley. Also, major issues are unemployment. Kashmiris are very lazy people. Yeah, it's a fact. If I have acres of bagans of apples and cherries and everything, I won't think of setting up a factory. I won't think of processing my fruits and everything. I won't think of making jams out of it. I won't think of making syrups out of it. I won't do that. I won't make apple chips. I have this now. I'll just sit back. That is the attitude that they live with. But that is the attitude that all the people who lives in hilly region has. So basically, the way they see elections, women have, if we talk about bordering areas, their issues are different. If we talk about areas nearby Srinagar, their issues are different. If we talk about South Kashmir, the issues are different. If we talk about, so basically, local issues plays like a significant role in deciding the mudda of elections for their own selves. If we look at the municipal elections of Srinagar, there are 73, 74 seats, and I guess what 53 seats were won by independent candidates. No party affiliations, independent candidates. Yeah.
That's commendable, actually.
Yeah.
I wish that happens pan India.
Yeah, and I guess Congress won 16 seats, BJP won 4 seats, and 1 ward was vacant. So there are 74 wards. Independent candidates won 53 seats. So basically, this is recent Srinagar Municipal Corporation election. BJP for the first time in the electoral history of the state won 60 seats unopposed, winning at least 7 municipal committees in Kashmir Valley.
Huge numbers.
Yeah. In Kashmir, so basically 69% of the wards did not require polling. So that is the scenario that we are actually looking at right now. If we look back, there were the years where specifically 2004 to 2008, there were years of huge amount of violence. There were like the separatist extremists did not allow sarpanches to like elect the elections, like to elect, like to stand for elections. Also, uh, 10 to 12 sarpanches were killed for electing, like for like
for filing nominations.
Yeah. Oh. So that was the case. That was the scenario. One decade back, and now we are here discussing about local
huge numbers.
Yeah. So it's a significant change. There are things that needs to be changed. But yeah, I mean, it's an evolving process. Also, despite these varied expectations, local expectations, the voting process remains. You also asked about voting process, right? The voting process remains essential for democratic representation. People participate in elections to choose their representatives. There are very cute pictures of girls standing in a line to vote. There are pictures of like ek to Kashmiris are cute. Uh,
I
so
totally agree. Very cute.
So I love to I enjoy seeing those pictures with them holding their voter ID in that line. Uh, I would want to see like huge lines for elections this year. I'm hoping.
I am hopeful of the same, and may that reflect there in the valley, in the complete geography of Jammu and Kashmir and Pan India, because the overall intent of conducting a literacy fest, electoral literacy fest, is that the voting participation increases, because ultimately it is the transfer of power. And keeping that in concurrence, did I name the theme "Be the People of Bharat"? So that people understand how important, what is the biggest power that they are holding. They're transferring power, they are choosing people to take the governance and run the machinery. So that is the actual final intent of the complete electoral literacy fest that I and my organization are up to, and so humble to have you here.
This hope, right? There has to be this hope that
Yes.
it is an instrument, very powerful instrument of power in our hands. Right. Yeah, there is this hope, and there is truth as well. I mean, and my question, like, is it really biggest instrument of power in our hands? That is another thing to have.
Yeah, that is another topic to sit and talk, but factually and truthfully, it is a very, very powerful instrument only if you take informed decisions and you realize the power and you transfer the power right-wise. Because you casting the vote is transferring power.
One aspect we're missing here is holding that elected representation accountable. Yes. There is a need to do that as well.
That has to be done at the policy level.
Yeah. So I hope we evolve as a society to hold these people like accountable. Okay, now we elected you for this particular thing. You're accountable to us. Yes. And you're accountable to us all 5 years, not just abhi and then after 5 years.
Yeah. So there is a major chunk in the between. First and last to baat ki baat hai. So that is there. Accountability can come when we start working at the policy level, and not only at the policy level, the actual struggle and the challenges post policy level, where it is implementation and monitoring. So I also have a public policy kind of a background. So we understand the nitty-gritties of it. We bring change at the policy level, and if we fail at implementation and monitoring, then there is no point having a policies also. Yeah. So these are things. Yeah. So let's go ahead now. Now, since you said there are a lot of problems, regional wise, that you just bifurcated. So we now can say, like truly, that there are issues with security, right? And we also know, for the matter of fact, that there are a lot of security issues, internal, external, everywhere. So it's a breeding ground of security issues, is my personal statement now. So how do you see? So given the security situation and continuous hostilities there, what are the difficulties and changes, okay, and chances for free and fair elections in Kashmir?
Oh God, what are the chances of conducting free and fair elections? I have no clue. I mean, if we can we can discuss about it. We can have multiple discussions, like round of discussions about it. But eventually, what happens on ground, it is out of our locus of control. But yes, conducting free and fair elections in the region is challenging due to region's security situation, as you rightly said. It has been marred by militancy, insurgency, cross-border tensions. But there is significant military, paramilitary presence in the region affects it affects the electoral process both positively and negatively as well. Security concerns often result in restrictions on campaigning. It also results in low voter turnout, difficulties for candidate to campaign freely, maybe. Uh, Also, presence of armed groups that oppose elections further adds to the complexity, and it can pose threat to both the candidates and to the voters. But again, if we say, even though very interestingly, I guess Baramulla was one of the districts. Even though PDP and National Conference didn't boycott the elections, the voter turnout was so low. It was so low because it was actually, in the minds of people that, okay, local body elections, they are not used to vote in that. The kind of social engineering that has happened over these years, it is immense, right? I mean, if there are multiple stories of how a particular thing you like what happens to you subconsciously, unconsciously, right? You want to vote consciously, but you're not able to. That is the thing with local body elections as well. With the um, Baramulla, I guess Baramulla was that district. It had abnormal voting. Yeah, it had abnormal voting pattern that was seen. Even though, and very low voter turnout, very low. And nobody expected Baramulla to act in such a way. So that was a very interesting. I'm not able to recall what exactly was the situation, what exactly was the scenario there. But there were few examples, few regions of. But again, I am in love with this film called Newton. I must, all of us, all of have seen this film. It talks about. It is again a celebration of democracy. It's celebration of that power that we were talking about, right? And the kind of efforts that we put in as a society, as a community, as a nation, it's amazing to witness. I mean, I've never witnessed elections in Kashmir in the valley, but we all can just search pictures on the internet. Okay, some border area, um, like 2 kilometers away from the LOC, there is an election booth there. People will come out, people will vote. They will have their own issues, they will have their own things. Things might not even change after they give their votes, but they will come out, they will vote. That is the power of this electoral process in itself. And that is very interesting to understand. I mean, I wish I can actually witness elections in Jammu and Kashmir on ground. Fingers crossed sometime.
Sure. Optimistically. I would love to join you then.
Sure, definitely.
Let's explore the area together and build on our better perspectives.
Yeah, definitely.
When you mentioned about having a booth somewhere in the remote location, which is quite it's a risky affair, right? So I should mention yesterday we had an international webinar, okay, where there were panelists from various nations, youngsters, talking about their electoral process in the particular country and region. And we had a representative from India as well. So I kind of had a sense of pride, which as a moderator I couldn't show there, but it did. That we set up a voting booth for 1%, only 1% in the Gir for a national forest region, and how our officers in the electoral process trek at various routes, difficult terrains and geography to just help people and exercise their power. So I had that sense of pride inside, and I still have it. That's so beautiful about our nation, and that showing importance to each person.
That is very true. Also, one thing that election process does is one of the administrative officers in Jammu and Kashmir is a principal secretary of some department there, director of entrepreneurship development. Currently, he is an MP for state.
In my state now?
Okay. State, as election officer.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Interesting to learn.
So, that is a very interesting thing. I was like, the way he perceives elections in Jammu and Kashmir, working very closely with all the political people there. And now he was here in Delhi a few days ago. I got a chance to meet him as well. He was here for in the Constitution Club of India. There was this youth seminar and youth training session that happened for all the electoral officers and everything. And the way we have belief and we have faith in this whole process, it is like a very interesting and maybe some stupid anecdote, not anecdote, like comparison. Like every day, every year, there are few rituals that happen, right? कि चलो चलो वैष्णो देवी जाना है, चलो यहाँ जाना है, some pilgrimage kind of thing. So after every 5 years, all of us as nation have this pilgrimage of voting.
Oh, I love this idea. Wow.
And I mean, it's all about that faith. It's all about that belief, right? And yeah, it's very interesting. It's fascinating. I mean, somebody from Kashmir who was born and brought up in Kashmir travels to MP, travels to another part of the nation and conducts elections there. And that is amazing. That's fascinating.
That's the beauty of Bharat. That's the essence of our nation, actually. We are all one. And we see that, this is such a unique nation where, the geography, the people, their culture, the practice, beliefs change almost every 50 kilometers, yet we are all one. So that's the beauty of and the essence of our nation, our Bharat. That's the beauty of it. So pulling you forward in the same line is we have to talk about Election Commission of India here. So my question here is, how would you rate the Election Commission of India's involvement in conducting elections in the region?
Oh, I'm nobody to rate.
Yeah, we are nobody to rate, but we are people, right? We have the right to express our thoughts and
okay. Basically it plays a crucial role in conducting elections in the region. It is responsible for overseeing the entire electoral process, from voter registration to counting of votes. Very interestingly, this every vote counts. That was the campaign, I guess, that was done by Election Commission in Jammu specifically, considering the delimitation thing that is happening. BJP is increasing. I mean, I don't know. Can we take names of particular parties while we are sharing our opinions?
Yeah, you can, because it is our opinions, right? We are not here representing anyone. You're just yourself and me, myself. So yeah.
So increasing presence of a particular national party in Jammu region. So every vote counts. That was the and then this whole mechanism, this whole machinery of election commission supported this. I mean, not supported, but political parties supported this whole campaign of, okay, now everybody should vote because every vote counts in the region. Maybe because of their own political gains, maybe because of their own political desires or something. But it is very crucial. It plays a very crucial role. Also, ECI's involvement is generally perceived as impartial, which is a very important aspect of any machinery conducting elections. And as we were talking about free and fair elections, so it is impartial and effective in conducting elections in the region. There are no questions asked about their partiality and stuff like that. But it also faces challenges during security, voter turnout, in conflict-prone areas specifically. Uh, I mean, specifically a few regions of, if we talk about Anantnag, or if we talk about Abhi, it is actually spreading in few regions of Jammu as well, Samba, Kathua, those regions. So, which is very disturbing in a way, but yeah, it is the reality.
We can't negate reality anyways. It is present.
Also, it ensures that ECI ensures that there is participation across all segments of society. The way when you walk in the valley, when you just like go there, you can, during elections or otherwise also, you will see flyers, or you'll see pamphlets pasted everywhere, saying election voting kaise karna hai types, and they have portals. They have amazing portals. They have helplines specifically in their language, specifically in Kashmiri, specifically in Urdu, or in Dogri, like the tribal languages. So that is very, again, very interesting.
Quite commendable. I would also like to add, like Election Commission of India has a beautiful pattern also quite set, which um, takes multiple trainings, as you said. One was there as a workshop, and I have myself observed some places where they ask the observing officers to go remotely, door to door, and collect postal votes from the aged people who cannot just move out or have mobility issues. So you know every vote counts. Does not only apply to the region of Jammu and Kashmir, it applies to the complete geography of India. Because every single human being who is the citizen of India should exercise their vote, because it's just every 5 times, once in a 5 year affair. I think you should do it very diligently, because that gives a very significant and substantial amount of change. Because the next coming 5 years, or the next coming, there are a lot of, like a lot of pacts and contracts signed for 5 years or 10 years or 25 years. This decision affects that also. So it's a long term effect. We people should cast their votes however possible, because there are provisions. So use, and to know what are the provisions, we are here to give them the knowledge, and Election Commission of India already does it. We as citizens should do something back. So we are also conducting the electoral fest, and you are doing your part of doing it.
Very interesting and very commendable, important thing that you're actually carrying out, like creating awareness about elections, electoral process in general. It's very, very important. Thanks to you for actually conducting a literacy fest for elections. It's a very unique, and actually the whole idea is very nice. I mean, proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, with this, now comes about, the question is, how can the government ensure that all segments of society, especially women and marginalized community, actively participate in the voting process? Exactly what we spoke a little while ago.
Yeah, I mean, they have to ensure active participation of all segments in society. As we talked about, every vote counts. It has different political connotations in the region, right? So political parties have to ensure, but otherwise also. There should be active participation of all segments of society, including women, marginalized communities, by implementing special outreach programs, voter education campaigns, provide better accessibility. Basically, the few areas there is absolutely no accessibility to like reach. Where I work, it's a place called Machal, uh, 42 kilometers away from Kupwara, 5 kilometers away
Okay.
from PLOC, Pakistan, 5 kilometers.
Oh, dur. Okay.
Yeah. So
Hotbed.
during winters, there is 10 feet ice, 10 feet snowfall there. And
Oh,
during winter, so you cannot reach there. You cannot. Only
oh,
if army cleans the road, you can travel, but that too for 1 day or 2 days max because snow keeps falling. So there are accessibility issues. Uh, there are issues of what should be the place. There were incidents in few regions, few rural regions of Kashmir, that religious places were used as polling booths. I mean, during COVID, we all saw that mosques and mandirs were used as classrooms, but in few areas of the region, religious places were used as polling booths. So again, it's a very effective uh, uh, frame, I would say, like polling booth
yes.
outside a religious place, and people are
That's
using that particular space, that particular building to cast their votes.
right. And to add to you, there is a historical evidence also. There is a particular reason why a structure, a religious structure, is made at a particular elevation, and some storage spaces. There is a very clear intent for it. While there are situations of disaster or distress in the area or inside the administrative structure, I would call it, inside the boundary, people of the state or that geography are bought inside the religious temple or whatever temple specifically, because I come from Tamil Nadu. So I can talk about the temple structures there. So they were supposed to come live inside the temple till everything settles outside for them to go back. So religious places are not only for worship or belief, it is a place that facilitates humankind to be themselves, to be humans. And there is nothing we need not talk about our religious divides here. We are talking about India, Bharat, so everybody has the right to go. Nobody is restricted anywhere, right? It's we have our own boundaries of thinking and who do not. So it's quite appreciable to have a polling booth in such areas or near such areas is also appreciable, frankly.
Yeah, it is. It should act as community centers. It certainly does in
It does.
key cases. But yeah, it is very. I mean, again, I was awestruck when I looked at the pictures again. I can't be there 24/7, 24/7, right? I want to, but I can't be.
Yeah,
I'm mentally there right now. I'm always there
I
mentally.
know. I wish, yeah, talking about cartoons, if we just had that Doraemon ka anywhere door, just open and go wherever you want.
Yeah, maybe like
We all
teleport.
need a door. Yeah, teleport us there. So that's quite
So
interesting.
yeah, it's the region is amazing. I mean, it does something to you. You can't like, you can't just get out of there.
Right. At least mentally, you have to live there. It creates it. I understand. So going forward now, um, what effect do social media and digital communication have on election campaigns and voter turnout in Kashmir? Now, I am now touching the electric transformer, but
So,
we should, right?
yeah. So basically, connectivity issues, connection issues, and blackouts was and not now itna zyada, but initially after the abrogation, it was a thing. Press trusts and press clubs were banned. So there is this anger in all those press people. So now they have started their own social media account and everything. But specifically during elections or something, there is connectivity cut, power cut. I mean, you can't use your mobiles. There is no network. You can't browse and everything that is there. With for all the correct reasons. Uh, I mean, army forces, they are there to do their jobs, right? Security cannot be compromised at any cost, right? I believe in that. There are discussions about demilitarization and everything. I support that as well. But if there is a need, they should be there. There are political leaders, there are administrators, they are also doing their jobs. And political leaders are doing politics. I don't know how much ethical, non ethical, whatever it is. I won't talk about that. I won't comment on that. Administrators are doing their job. Our job as civilians is to basically connect, right? As if I say, as administrator, I want to connect you as an individual. You can't do that. You have to connect with a person as an individual, as a person. So, as civil society, it's our job to bring them in the mainstream, so-called mainstream. Um, so, yeah, the role of media, as he rightly said, there are all narratives. And media being fourth pillar of democracy, and elections being celebration of democracy, plays a very important, significant role. There are local newspapers. But one interesting thing about Kashmiris as a community is that they are very intact as community. If something happens here, news reaches to another end, like
Like fire?
yeah.
I mean, air, probably.
I mean, they know things. They know what is happening on ground. Even though nobody's reporting it, nobody's writing it about in newspapers, they know it.
They're quite
So
packed as a
there
tribe
are
there.
different mediums of communication that are being used. But in this
You know some?
era, of social media and this digital communication that we are used to now, so it has a significant impact on election campaigns and voter turnout specifically. They provide like a platform for political parties to engage with voters and to disseminate information. Uh, Sometimes they are used for misinformation, polarization, which can affect the electoral environment. And effective regulation and monitoring is necessary. And that is what happens in the valley, considering it is a very volatile environment and very, first, not this word. Yeah. It is, we have, whatever we talk about, especially when we are talking about the region, about the valley, we have to be very careful with our words. And me, I just speak my mind. So whenever I speak about the region in a public forum and open platform, I have to be very careful. And that is a reminder to my own self.
Right. Yeah, that's what I earlier also said, I was in awe with your choice of words. You become very slow when there is something, groundbreaking coming up, and then you choose big words right away. And that is how it should be.
Yeah, no, basically, it is all about being sensitized about the things that they are. Right. We are all on this verge with the region, like anybody who is well connected, well versed with whatever is happening in the region, then we know that uh, we need some change. There are questions about what kind of change, how will it come, who will drive it, and everything. But again, as I said, as civil society, what we can do, what is in our locus of control? and how can we evolve as a society, right? And that applies to Kashmir as well. So if as a community we are not able to, like, there was a very interesting thing that happened. uh, I was in college and I was pursuing my masters, and I was very fascinated and was passionate about Kashmir issue as a whole. I had never visited Kashmir before. I visited Kashmir for the first time 2.5 years back, 3 years back, in Navratri. 3 years back, I celebrated my Dashera with Jawans in Kashmir on LOC. So सही मायने में शस्त्र पूजन, और I was standing on the LOC, so सही मायने में
Dashera.
Yeah. So that was 3 years ago. So before that, I have never visited the valley as such. Never. But I was always fascinated about this particular topic. So, and I was doing my dissertation, and we decided to do a primary survey thing. I can't go there and survey people, right? I can understand what is the perception of Kashmir of my people, the people who live here in Pune. I was living in Pune back then. So the sample size was around 15, yeah, 15,000. And the questions were very, very basic. Do you think that Jammu and Kashmir is an integral part of India? Question mark. And the options were yes, no, confused. I mean, we don't know, whatever. So and around 30, 30 plus percent of people had this question in their mind if Kashmir is an integral part of India or not. And the results were, I was in shock after like 15,000 is not a, it's a good sample size. And the age group was 18 to 25. And we buy these narratives, right? There are special status that is given to this particular state, and we have to form informed opinions. There are multiple other states that also have like special status. If you are entering Arunachal Pradesh, you have to have that document with you. What is it called? I am forgetting. So when I was actually, yeah. So when I was actually going, I was entering to in Arunachal Pradesh. I had to present that paper. Okay, here is this document. Now let me go, please. There are multiple like that, and the rules regulations maybe, but it wasn't only for Kashmir, right? And the way people made it a huge issue. It is an important issue. It is a big issue. But the way we see things, the way we not we see things, the way things are shown to us
much better
on national media, on mainstream, so-called mainstream media. It is very disturbing. यहाँ पे हो गया, पाकिस्तान ने कर दिया हल्ला, कश्मीरियों ने दिया साथ. न्यूज कुछ अलग होता है. Something different. And when I went to Kashmir, I was a research. I went there for research, and I could actually interact with more than 500 people, right from in Marathi, मेंढपाळ ते राज्यपाल. बाहेर से लेके लेफ्टिनेंट गवर्नर, they could interact with everybody. So I had a meeting with few journalists there, and there were people from all sorts of media, people from radio, people from like who were reporters, and the way they also have their own perspective. There was this journalist who was actually a ground reporter back then. He was covering some issue. Three guys from same home went missing, and I mean, I guess military, yeah, something. I'm forgetting the details. But he went there to cover the story, and their mother was there. He was talking to their mother, and Kashmir mein, during winters, there is this thing called kangri, jo bhi bolte hain. So there are charcoals in there, and you just like used to like heat warm yourself up. So he was just sitting there. It was like late night. This is the story that he narrated to me. Uh, and he was like warming himself up. And the mother of three sons, she just looked at him and said, uh, मेरे छोटे वाले को भी ऐसी ठंडी लगती थी, सर्दी लगती थी, और वो भी ऐसे ही ये करता होगा. अभी वो जहाँ जहाँ कहा जहाँ कहीं भी दफनाया गया होगा, वहां पे भी उसको ऐसी ही ठंडी लगती होगी. And she smiled. And this whole story changed his perspective about things. He stopped reporting after that. He was like, I won't be able to do the ground reporting anymore. But there are like, again, that particular story shaped his perspective about looking at things. Now maybe like him being empathetic and compassionate as a human being, he felt for that particular moment. Maybe as a journalist, I can. He was a journalist. So we need to understand here that they also have their own perspectives. They are putting their perspective. We can actually understand what their perspective is, but we need to understand what exactly is happening.
The reality is reality. Perspective is a dialogue of that reality which is taken forward. So, dialogue can be actual or can have some additions or could have deleted something. So, the reality to be portrayed as reality is a very needs a lot of strength and it needs some muscle.
In mainstream media, we have never heard and like read stories about student exchange programs that is happening in Srinagar. I mean, there was a thing. I met DP Dhar's son, with Vijay Dhar in Kashmir. He runs DPS Srinagar. He owns the only multiplex in Kashmir in Srinagar. And he's a very influential figure in development of Srinagar, development of Kashmir.
Mm-hmm.
So he shared that there was a story. There was a real incident, real story that happened. There was lockdown, complete lockdown due to security concerns and everything. But kids had to write their board exams, and community came together and it's like they cannot sit in schools. There were some hints that schools might get targeted and everything. So community came together. They were like they will sit in one of the large stadiums there. So they cleaned it. The community came together. They cleaned it, and for 2 hours when they were writing papers, community protected the stadium.
Commendable.
This is a very positive story. This happened in reality. When I went to visit DPS Srinagar, there were kids from Gujarat. They were there for their student exchange program.
See?
But these stories are not covered. I mean, they are covered, maybe, but they are in like some page 8 chotu sa column,
which generally people ignore.
Yeah, it's about the choice of. I mean, what are we reading? What do we want to promote?
I know. I understand.
We talked about truth and hope, right? So there is truth. This is happening in reality. Whatever violence, whatever cases are happening, that is happening in reality, yes. But
there is hope.
It is also the reality, right? I mean, right. These things are also happening.
We always have a question of what is the government doing? What is this doing? What is that doing? There was never a question about what are the people doing. And you see, this is a very beautiful incident where people have done something. Board exam, is it has to do with the school and whatever board they're affiliated to, and the board is approved by the government. So we can just have two stakeholders, the government and the student community. People participation in this is important. But had it been anybody else for that matter, I don't want to name, just that government ने ये कर दिया, उसको ये करना चाहिए था, government को ऐसा करना चाहिए था. What did you do when people are giving birth to narratives? Before doing it, what did you do?
Like we were talking about accountability, right? So people, like, we should hold government accountable, yes, but we should hold ourselves also accountable for the things that we are doing or we are not doing.
Right.
Prioritizing what we want to see and what we not want to see.
Correct. I can totally understand, because when you do not put in enough effort to research and cast your vote to a particular candidate, then you do not have the right to go and ask, why have you not done it? Did you put enough effort to research and read and study about the candidate? No. Then why are you questioning? Or did you even go and cast your vote? If you did, how informed was that decision? Was it just because you like the design of the symbol? Or was it well propagated? Or you had a lot of hoardings outside, kisko dekh liya, out of a nudge effect, you just went and pushed the button? No. So now, see, India is declared as the most populous country in the world today. And it also has a major chunk of youth population. That means that who are eligible to vote, or maybe even people entering in the first time voters, all these things. How much time does a citizen give to research on the particular candidate contesting in their particular constituency? Very few. Movie देखना है, they have enough time to go watch review क्या था, what is the rating, IMDb, ये वो दुनिया भर. Lot of things. You want to go buy a dress, you can invest n number of time कि हाँ showroom में ऐसा है, check click किया, Amazon में देखा, Myntra. You have so much of time to do all these small things which can be changed. If it is not good, you can give it out of exchange or just do away with it. I'm not like in any case promoting this behavior, but just telling. But you cannot do away with something which is going to change the destiny of your future. And that's what people are doing away with. And that is what agitated me. And hence we are you and we are here talking. It's sad, actually. It's really sad. People don't want to see the positives. I wouldn't say don't want to see. It is difficult to go and find positive. It is easy, this dopamine thing that people, this media is pushing in. You can see. I'll tell you about an incident. I had a dialogue, a conversation with a RJ recently. So he was like, viral content के पीछे लोग भागते हैं. I said people want to make viral content. They don't want to be the virus. Right? कोई मरा पड़ा है, उसका वीडियो खींचने के लिए लोग तैयार है. They don't want to go work and get into the filth. So these are certain things which need to be addressed. It's high time. And since we call it the Amrit Kal, let that Amrit Kal be Amrit Kal in the real sense, in all the dimensions, not only with infrastructure or economy that we are talking. Everything has to start from the grassroots level. And let this Amrit Kal be the actual sense Amrit Kal, even, very strongly in the history is what I feel.
So basically, with this whole media thing, there is I watched a series recently. I didn't know how I missed it for so long. It's called Scoop.
Okay.
It's a very interesting web series. Highly recommend. It's just you have to watch it for this whole media and like hypocrisy of media. So whatever. Also, as we are talking about Amrit Kal and how should we approach it, and for Kashmir, what I feel is I have come up with this cycle of 4 A's for myself. I keep writing letters to Kashmir. I write letters to a land.
Okay.
Kashmir. Yeah. Uh, and I'm on my 312th letter for Kashmir. Abhi. I have written,
Nice.
yeah. When I started reading about it, when I visited there, I had various experiences. So I kept writing. It's my way, my own way of expression. I talk about my personal dilemmas also in those letters because I feel very much connected to the land. So it's like my diary, dear diary. But for me, it's dear Kashmir. It might
Right.
sound very stupid,
And
but
someday
it is what it is.
no, it's not stupid. It's important because Anne Frank's diary is still there. Letters documented by major leaders are still there. And I hope and believe that your letters also should. I know it's very indecent to look into somebody's diary, but this sounds very interesting. And I think people should have access to your diary someday when you feel we should. And we'd love to read about it.
So I'll start
And
with the circle of 4 A's, right? So first A is of acknowledgement. If we are able to acknowledge what is happening, uh, then then comes acceptance. Okay, fine, this is happening. Then comes awareness about it. So there is acknowledgement, there is acceptance, there is awareness, and then comes the action. Right? I mean, if we are aware about what exactly it is, then only we can act. So, when I step into the region, I try to operate with these 4 A's. And surely, I mean, I hope people would get bored.
no. See, whenever there's something important people are talking, people tend to get bored. And who are interested will stay, don't worry. You know, the content will reach the right minds.
Okay. I mean, I either love talking, but as you mentioned,
Likewise.
yeah. I uh, I guess I will read out one of my letters by end of this conversation.
Oh, we would love. Please, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and talking is an attribute I think is very much dear to people, Bharat. Then narrowing down to Pune, Pethi Pune. That's us.
Yeah, that is so true. That is so true. We have opinions about each and everything that is happening around. That is even happening on Saturn. We have opinions,
Right.
and we will like, okay, this is my opinion. Do whatever you want about it.
Yeah. You want it, you don't want, that's okay. We are registering it. That's it.
That is so
Right. Right.
Pethi Pune.
Very proud to be. Yes. So let's go a little more forward. So can you just take us to a quick rundown of political parties and stakeholders? Okay, I think which you have already done. But are there anything distinct in their goals? Is there anything to speak on which is they stand distinguished there? Anything of that kind? Or
This
you have already addressed?
one of the major emerging players. Then we are all aware about PDP, NC, INC in the region. The alliance, the Gupkar alliance, the very new alliance called BJP PDP alliance. We are all aware about it, right? But a new stakeholder, new player emerging in Jammu and Kashmir will be Apni Party. And very interestingly, if you just like Google who is Altaf Bukhari and why he has Z security, how he supported national government for their policies and stuff. So, considering electoral politics, a very interesting new insight, new and the party can bring actually a new angle to politics in the region. So that is there. Also, after the delimitation processes, I'm actually eager to see what will happen in upcoming elections. Um, so looking forward. But otherwise, every single day it is evolving. The politics everywhere is evolving, right, in one or the other way. It is the same in Kashmir as well. Like now, Mahbooba Mufti and Omar Abdullah is meeting. They are giving joint statements and everything. That is happening, right? And that will happen because ये लोकतंत्र का खेल है. सरकारें आएगी जाएगी. मतलब ये देश चलना चाहिए, लोकतंत्र चलना चाहिए. So that we are like, I believe in, and very said by our former Prime Minister, Bharat Ratna माननीय अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी. So yeah, लोकतंत्र के लिए जो भी करना हो वो होगा, and political parties will keep evolving. They will come and they'll go, but this whole system will remain. This whole idea will remain. So not much to like talk about the political parties. And we are all aware about it. Like we hear about it everywhere. So I mean, there is nothing new for me to add.
I get it. Nice. Really happy to know about so many things. And by this, we have actually come to the end of this conversation. And as you promised, this is not the end. This is the end of this episode. And this should end with your letter to Kashmir and with a promise to have more series, a series on a dialogue on Kashmir and your perspectives on it. Let's not only stick to elections in the future. A lot has to be addressed on education, policy, people, healthcare, infrastructure, so on and so forth. So,
I mean, I'm not sure if I'll be the right person to address each and every thing, but I can definitely get few experts, and it will be a learning experience for me as well.
Right.
So yeah, we can definitely think about it, and would love to do that for the letter thing. Okay, so this was after my visit to Kashmir in the month of June.
Okay.
I went to Kashmir. I went to Machal, and when I was there, I usually stay with a unit there.
Okay.
And when I was there, at around 6:30 in the evening, I could sense that something is happening. And then there was a power cut, like completely. Usually, garrison mein there is no power cut usually. And after some point, there were like I could hear guns firing outside, and yeah, it was a very tense situation, and I was there. I'm still not able to process it. I'm still not able to like put it in words. But next day, I got to know that 4 terrorists were killed. It was done as Operation Kala Jungle. It was a news on national media. Few drugs and everything were like that was there. That happened. That was a very. I mean, I don't have words to express what I felt and what was that emotion. But when I was leaving Kashmir, when I was in the flight, I wrote this farewell, dear borderlands of Kashmir, where my heart found solace amidst the rugged terrain. In your embrace, I witnessed the strength of resilience and the beauty of unity. From the echoes of laughter in the bustling bazaars to the breathtaking vistas that stretched to horizon, every moment carved itself into my being. The tales of bravery whispered in the winds filled me with admiration of your people. As I bid adieu, I promise to return, to walk your paths once more, to share in your triumphs and revel in your indomitable spirit. Farewell, borderlands of Kashmir, until we meet again very, very soon.
That was touching. I am sure your letters will reach Kashmir and Bharat, and then with that to the world. This has a lot of emotions. It has a lot of depth. Emotions to be portrayed in words is very difficult. I also very little bit can claim that I write to a level, but when it is emotional, the hand shivers, the pen doesn't fall on the paper, and it's commendable through your emotions. You're penning it down and documenting everything, not in the intent of documenting, though. I know you're not intended, but it should, as a humble request, and reach a larger, wider audience to be able to connect with our people, our brothers and sisters in Kashmir. Because you are not a Kashmiri, I am not a Kashmiri, but we are all one, all together, because they are us and we are they. That's it. So,
rightly said.
So, since we have come to the end, I would like you to give a closing statement on every citizen's need to go and vote, cast their vote, so that people get motivated, not only in Kashmir, pan India, wherever, or probably if this reaches the global arena, there are elections happening worldwide in their own country. So let them go, cast their vote, show their power, and make informed decisions. Over to you, Mrunmayee.
What? How? I'm not a person that is like, okay, now go and vote.
Why not? That's not as expected. It's just what comes to your heart. That's it.
Again, like for me, I look at elections as celebration of this beautiful idea, beautiful concept called democracy. So, who be a part of this celebration? We all love to celebrate as Indians, and everybody loves to celebrate, right? It's a festival. It's a festival of emotions. It's a festival of values. It's a festival of beliefs. It's festival of faiths. Election is a festival of electoral awareness. Elections is a festival of us individuals. It is festival of like giving and believing in the idea that yes, we have power. It is the promise to ourselves that yes, we will be accountable ourselves, and we will hold the government that we are electing accountable. Uh, Also, it is that beautiful, that canvas that has immense opportunities, that shows you, that paints a beautiful picture in your eyes, that gives you a lot of hope. So for being hopeful, for keep believing, for exercising your power, we all should vote. Yeah.
That was again the Mrunmayee way, I would call now. Quite emotional from the heart. So thank you. Thank you for this wonderful.
Thank you so much for having me here. And thank you, Sankarshna, as well, who is my colleague, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. We are in the webinar phase, so I think he cannot talk, but yeah.
Yeah.
But thanks to Sankarshna for bringing us together.
So yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot. I had a good time. For me, again, I like to talk. I love to revisit my memories in Kashmir. I love to interact with people. And yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity for me to like talk about the region that I'm really passionate about. Yeah, thank you for patiently listening to me.
It was a pleasure listening to you, a delight listening to you. And I feel great to know that I was able to give you an opportunity to talk about your love, the land of Kashmir, from day one of our interaction and today, and more to come. Wishing you all the very best in all the spheres. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.